So welcome back, guys, to the homestead. Why did I get these self-tinting glasses? I feel like an old man with these things, and then every time I want to wear them outside of the camera, they're dark. Then I can't see you. We are about to go on Jack and I are about to go on a very exciting adventure, and I've been all morning getting everything prepped. So we're going to bring you guys along. We are going on a expedition. I hate to give it all away yet, but it does include dirt bikes and it does include rock climbing, and it's going to be in a place that you are probably not going to expect. Mrs. W's parents are visiting. They're going to be staying here with her while we're gone, but we're going to be gone for 7 days, and it is going to be an adventure of a lifetime. So we'll bring you guys along. Today, he's in CC. We do homeschooling, classical conversations, and he has the group class with the other kids once a week. So I'll pick him up in town at 3:15, and then we'll head straight out. We've got about a 15-hour drive. We're going to try to just bust straight through it. So I wanted to bring you along with some cool stuff that I have kind of for the trip, some thoughts and ideas on what to take when you go on an expedition like this, and maybe give you some ideas and just invite you to come along and hang out a little bit. When I pack for stuff like this, I'm very visual, and I like to see things. So what I do is I lay I lay everything out, and I start from at the toes and go up to the head, and just work through. I can't believe how much stuff that is. That's only the motorcycle stuff for Jack and I. But then what I'll do, so I'll lay it all out, make sure that we have what we need, and then I like to have everything neatly organized. You guys know I love these action packers. Then my three favorites are the little 8-gallon one. That's the one that we use for the car kit. And then there's I don't know what that one is, the medium. That one's probably the best all-arounder. And then these big ones, which I have and I use, but I don't recommend because they're just awkward. What I don't like about these is that the lids don't stay open if you're on any sort of a slope, and then you fight them all the time. But they do hold. Sometimes those just don't hold enough. But usually between the three, you can get everything sorted. So I kind of lay things out in systems. I'll lay out the dirt biking stuff in one area, and then I'll lay out my containers that I can choose, and then I'll lay out tools, electrical generator, all those things, so that I can, so I don't miss things. But one thing I wanted to share with you, and I haven't tried this out yet, I just got it, but I was thinking, well, being that I'm on the carnivore diet and I eat steak for every meal, I got to figure out a way to cook steak in an off-grid location, which is what we're going to be. We're going to be in the wilderness, very, very rural, or very, very wild place. So I thought, we need some sort of a propane gas grill. And I found this online. I bought it on Amazon. There's several of these types, but I like this one because it was most compact, and it's a really small portable gas grill. This is not an endorsed video. I paid full retail just like anyone else here. It was a little over $100, or I don't remember exactly. But I've adapted it, and I hook it up to a big propane tank, because those little bottles are really convenient, but they don't last very long, and they're just kind of wasteful, and they're expensive. So I just get a regular propane tank. You can get these guys anywhere, and they've got multiple nipples on there that have the same thread as those little green bottles. And then you can thread a lantern on the top if you want to. That's kind of an old school focus. That's kind of an old school idea of the propane, old school mantle lanterns. Now that LED technology and batteries are so bright, you just don't use that anymore. And this is kind of a relic of that, so I don't think that I'd use it anymore, but I have it, so I use it. So this is plumbed in, and what's cool about this is it's got a cutting board, so it all nests together. And we'll do a video when we get set up and cooking with it, because I have not cooked with it. But that hooks on there, and then you can actually put one of those green bottles in there, and it nests all together like that, and it's got an igniter. So we will be trying that out. We got the Honda generator here. I thought, let's see, the Honda generator's been sitting for, over 12 months without being used, I think. And the last time we serviced it, what's the chance of this thing starting on the first pull? These little generators are so amazing. I bought this when we were in our off-grid place. We were leaving this thing because we had a trailer up there, and we were worried about it being freezing. And I hooked up 2 5-gallon tanks to this. That's why I have this funky lid deal on there. And this thing would run over the weekend, like 48, 72 hours constant, just incredible. I've never had a problem with it. These Honda 2000s are incredible. Let's see. After 1 year. Yeah, that's why we buy Honda, isn't it? So why am I taking this? I'm taking it because I don't have the solar panels set up on the van yet. When the van is all done, we're not going to need this anymore. This is kind of it will be a thing of the past. But until then, if we have a battery problem or we're stuck in a particular place for extended days, you know, my battery is designed to run my refrigerator and furnace about 48 hours without running the engine. I could run the engine on the van and recharge it. It's not a problem. But if something were to happen and we got stuck out there, there's no way to really recharge the thing. So I feel really comfortable, or I'll feel a lot more comfortable having a small generator along. So when we get to solar panels, that's not going to be a problem. So that will come along with us. And we've got our dirt bike stuff, tools here. This is a crate that I use as a tool stand. You know, the bikes will stand on it. What I take along with me, apart from the regular tools on the bike, are grease and then some extra oils, some two-stroke oils. I only run AMSOIL. I don't run any other bike oil on the bike. It's the best there is. Lucas, I'd run Lucas too. They're just about the same thing. Loctite and some grease, and then multiple air filters. So we change our air filters it might be every day. So we have three total air filters, and those are oiled and ready to go. So we don't have to clean where we're at. We can just simply take it off, put it in the bag, and put the dirty one back in there and go. So now we have to set about our organization here. We've got the bikes all loaded, all oil changed, everything ready to go. The outside rack has been really nice. I thought for a while that we might try to carry them inside. It doesn't work out. So in the back we got 10 gallons of fuel. So we've got Jack's 4-stroke fuel, my 2-stroke fuel. So that's an extra. And his bike doesn't hardly burn any gas, so we can use some of his fuel for the generator if we were to need it. But that's all set up, everything outside and the gas outside, so we don't have any smell. It really worked out good. One thing that didn't work out very good is I did not double strap my bike one time, and you can see how it's kind of canted that way a little bit. And I hit this massive roller. I mean, it was it was odd to hit a big bump that big on a back Forest Service road. I was going too fast, and this has got a hard aluminum point on the handguard, and it hit the windshield and broke it. Take a stab of what that windshield cost to replace. Aftermarket, $500. $500. I couldn't believe it. So, I mean, I was bummed, and now I stew about it every time I'm carrying this bike around. So what I do is I lean the bike back a little bit, and I put this big old hunk of rubber hose on there. So, because what broke it was it's got a hard, sharp aluminum point right there, and so hopefully I don't want to break another one. I mean, that would be terrible. All right, so sadly, the Sweet Loaf and Mrs. W, they won't be coming with us on this trip. This is one of my initiating a young man, or initiating Jack into manhood type of, or boy into manhood type of trips that it's so important that we're going to be doing a lot more of. Getting him out of the house and getting him exposed and around good strong men with good character is important to me. And we have some great men that are going to be on this trip. So I'm really looking forward to it. So we pulled Mrs. W the Sweet Loaf seat out, and that gives us a lot more room. And I put everything in these cargo boxes. I always think when I was living in Florida years ago for work, I got to go inside and got a tour of is it Cape Canaveral? Is it Kennedy Space Center down there? I forget. I mix up that one in Houston. I guess it's Cape Canaveral. And they were these guys were engineers were working in there, and they had all these cardboard boxes, and written on them were the different things like avionics and water storage and all that. And they knew what they needed to fit in this spacecraft, whatever it was they were designing, and they were stacking everything in there, and it was kind of cool. I always think of that when I stack these, and I just cannot handle loose stuff and stuff rolling around in bags. Mrs. W, when we met, she likes IKEA bags. You know what IKEA bags are? They're these big blue bags made out of like this blue tarp material, and she doesn't have any problem with having like lots of bags, like leaving the house with like, I'm exaggerating, of course, but like 5 or 6 of these things. And we're going to the airport, and we've got, a baby and all of that. And I traveled for business. I used to be on the road for like 10 months out of the year as a construction superintendent. So when you travel for business a lot, you get really good at it, and you get really efficient, right? Like a whole week supply of clothing is right here. That's it. I can live out of that. I don't have 5 bags, which makes me crazy. So the first couple times we traveled, we'd go to the airport and we got the baby and we got the stroller, and I'm super anal about this stuff, and we got all these bags, and I mean it was so bad. I mean, it was a problem. So we sat down and like, okay, I know I may be crazy, but or maybe I'm being way too anal here, but I can't stand the bag. So we worked out systems where we could be a little bit more organized. So this is my van, and I'm the captain of the ship. So when we when we pack and travel, everything, I give her a box. I give the Sweet Loaf's got a box. Jack's got his box. If you want to take it, it's got to fit in that box, and the lid's got to snap on it. So that's, I don't know. That's just the way I am. I got to have it that way. The older I get, the more it's important to me. So what we're going to do is let's put everything in our boxes, and we'll get it in here so it'll be nice and tidy. And then we got to get on our way here in about an hour. I just never have been able to get all my motorcycle gear in one of those small, medium-sized totes. So I'm going to go with the big one. It's the helmets, and I carry 2 helmets. I ride, if we're going to be doing street riding and stuff, I'll wear a DOT-approved helmet. You know, a full-on, a nice legal helmet. But I don't typically wear a motorcycle helmet when I dirt bike. I typically ride a mountain bike helmet, and all the guys I ride with do, because they're so much lighter and they're so much cooler. We're riding technical tight trails. We're not ripping. We don't go fast. We're riding up in the mountains, and we just don't have use for that. And they're just too hot and they're too heavy. So we go with the lighter weight ones. I might even just leave this one. I might just leave that one at home here. But let's put all this in here, see what we can fit. So can I give you guys a piece of advice from personal experience here? Do not, under any circumstances, buy anything from the company, this company right here, that has the Fox company. I bought 4 things from them this spring for dirt biking, and all 4 of them failed almost immediately. Look at this. These were their top of the line pants, and this is not even a full season. They wore through and tore. Everything's tearing out. The snaps the first day on the gaiters, those popped off and flew off. And they're terrible. That's the pants. Now, I told you there were 4 things. So those, I mean, they're still somewhat usable, but I look like a bag lady when they're going around. So then I bought their gloves, right? And I bought their best ones. I wanted to have really nice gloves. After 4 rides, the Velcros tore off on the little handles, on the little keepers there, which is not it's not a big deal, but it bothers me to no end. I like to have those tight, have that tight around there. And the Velcro came off after, maybe it was only 3 or 4 rides. I mean, I just barely used them. The third thing I bought from them, which was rubbish, where I bought these gloves, was you want kind of a cold weather and a warm weather pair. First ride, all of the rubber and everything all fell off like that. And then the 4th and last thing that I bought from them was a jacket, and I've probably worn this, this is an enduro jacket, it's supposed to be tough, right? I probably wore this 6 times, and look, all the seams, everything are coming out. So my experience has been, I've got 4 things from them. This is all 2018 stuff, it's new stuff. All of it just fell apart and is absolute trash. So do not buy anything from Fox Racing. All right, it fit, but it barely fit. I do carry a couple of MSR fuel bottles. I put 2-stroke mix in that and throw it in my pack if we're going to go on really long rides. It gives me an extra half a gallon, which sometimes you need. But what I've been finding with my 2.5 gallon tanker, so I'm getting over 120, 125 miles, and I rarely ride over that. So that hasn't really been necessary with this bike. So Jack stuff's a little smaller. We'll see if his fits better. Yep, that's it for Jack stuff. I even have to put my tool roll in there because I can't get it in mine. So he's pretty well maxed out too. All right, so let's go get our electrical and our cooking stuff. I just realized something that was really cool. You can store one of those green ones in there for an emergency. So if we wanted to stop and cook on the way, we wouldn't have to drag out that big, that great big tank. That might be super handy for an emergency. Okay. So this is the whole 7-day load out here, minus food and bedding. We'll do that here next, but just to quickly go through it. So this trip for us is kind of like a Hudson Bay start. You know what a Hudson Bay start is? Hudson Bay start was, so back in the day, the guys that were exploring up north, you know, the trappers and explorers up in the Yukon and all that up there, the Hudson Bay Company or Hudson Bay area was the jumping point where they all started. And so what they would do is a Hudson Bay start. So they would buy all of their equipment and food and ammunition and all the things that they thought they needed, and they would travel north one day's journey, and they would spend the night. And that would point out to them all of their deficiencies, all the things that they were lacking or they didn't have. And that way they didn't get too far away before realizing that they had forgotten a vital component for their trip. Then they'd come back if they needed to and configure things, and then off they would go. That's called a Hudson Bay start. So Jack, I'm excited. Jack's getting old enough now, and I've always told him when he was little, you know, when you hit 13 or so, it's going to be time for you to start stepping into manhood and start taking on more responsibilities and taking some risks and doing some things, climbing mountains and, you know, doing things that boys should do to make sure that there's a very distinct line in the sand for him at this particular age. When I accomplished this particular thing, I stepped from being a child and I stepping into manhood. So I think it's really important, and sadly it's kind of lacking with a lot of folks. I'm around them. I mean, I was fortunate to grow up with a really strong father and a really strong grandfather who provided those things for me. But I'm around guys now that are in their, you know, 30s and 40s and even married with kids, and they're still not sure. You know, no one ever told them. No one ever took them and entered them into that brotherhood, and it just never really happened, and they're kind of a little bit lost because of that. So it's really important. It's something that we need to make sure that we keep going. So let's load this all up in there, and then we'll go for the food, and I think we'll be about wrapped up. Oh, you want to see the gear? I forgot. So dirt bike here, Jack's clothes, my personal clothes. We all know that, right? So what I'll do, if I have things that roll around, like this grill has kind of a rolly bottom on it, I'll put it inside of a packer without the top on it. And the same goes with the propane tanks. Those things can be pretty dangerous if they're flopping around. So in here, in this big one, this is the medium-sized packer. I've got my extension cord for the generator. I've got a compressor because we're going to need to air tires down on the van because we're going to be in some pretty rough country. Oils, two-stroke, propane air filters, all that type of stuff, jumper cables, right? So we have that. Now, the green one there, of course, that's the vehicle emergency kit that we covered in the videos the other day, so you know what's in that. Go back to emergency car vehicle kit. It was only like a week ago if you want to see the contents of that. And then this one here is our rock climbing equipment. So in here we're going to have a 50 meter rope. I think it's a 50 or 60. Our climbing shoes, webbing, 2 climbing harnesses, belaying devices, rappelling devices, all those things which we're going to be needing. So that fits all nicely in an action packer. You may not know this, but I used to really be into rock climbing. Had a climbing partner. We climbed all over the place. We did a lot of big stuff. Got our generator. That's it. So let's shoehorn all this stuff in there, and then we'll bring the food in. Everything fits in really nice under the bed there. We've got a couple extra, boxes that we'll just store right there for now. And then when we get there, the generator and stuff will be dirt bike bags and boxes will be outside. That's another thing nice about the action packers is if it is raining or snowing, you can close the lids. I mean, they're pretty much waterproof from rain, stuff that comes straight down the way that they're made, so they're good for that. But for just general living, we'll have plenty of space, and of course we'll have all of this living space here. We'll turn the chairs around and install the table, which just nests right there. And then we'll have a nice dining and eating area. And then of course we have outside tables as well, small outside tables and chairs, so we can be outside and cook outside because the weather should be really nice. And for stuff that we just need to get to all the time, like commonly used items, mostly coats and hats and shoes and gloves and sorts. That's what the bike panniers are for. So there's 2 for Jack and 2 for me on this particular trip that we can put storage in there. So the only thing left is I'm going to have to decide what I'm going to take for firearms. Probably handgun, maybe shotgun, maybe an M4, don't know yet. To see what I have room for. I have to do a quick look online to see what the carry laws are too, where we're going. That's a good thing to remember. So let's go get let's fill up our fridge and get our bedding. And I think that should be about it. I've got my food packed for the trip, which is really easy. That's a nice thing about the carnivore diet. So coffee, got some really great coffee thanks to one of my subscribers at the Million Subscriber Party. Looking forward to that. Coffee grinder, got all that stuff. I heat the water with a hot pot that I keep up here, just an electric one. We have such a great battery. We've got lithium batteries under there. They just are awesome. So in the drawer, then I've got some salt, my garlic, my Slap Your Mama stuff, and I don't require very much, but here's where the good stuff is. Oh my goodness, look at that. A van freezer full of Omaha, so I've got ribeyes, we've got tenderloin, we've got sirloin, we've got some beef franks. We've even got some potatoes au gratin. I'm going to do a special meal for Jack. We've got some other stuff there. That's the deep freeze part, but they'll keep in here fine. This is about a week's worth of food. There would be enough for me. I've left half the room for Jack. Pounded butter. I'll have to get another one of those because we'll stop on the way out and get him some normal food. He eats like a normal person. Almost forgot manuals. Manuals for the bikes. All of those, all that important information. Okay, so that's. Yeah, I'm looking good. So it's T-1 hour from the time I need to leave. We'll go pick him up. And this is kind of a quick and dirty video that probably is 20 minutes or half hour long. So I hope you enjoy it. We'll be, hopefully we'll be able to upload, well, as often as we can, but stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of really great stuff to show you, and I'm excited to bring you along. So thanks for watching. Click the thumbs up if you would like to support the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next video.